to the Untitled Anarchist Seagull channel's Friday night stream. I'm your host, an Untitled Anarchist Seagull. Let's just get that link shared out so others can join in. There we go. Okay, let's play a little bit of GeoGuessr while we get started. Sure that the connection is up. Yes. Okay, sometimes one or the other just doesn't go through on Restream. I like to make sure about it. So see everything. Okay, and we've got, that's the wrong window that I'm clicking on there. We've got Hebrew, Arabic, and English. Well, there's one place that could be. We are in Israel. Yitzhak Tabenkin. Never heard of him. Oh, hold on, that's a different sign there. Yeah, Pinchas Rosen. Yarden. So today I get notified by a friend of mine that An Israeli reporter is trying to find people with connections to the Chilean left in order to find someone to interview on the environmental policies of the incoming centrist government of Gabriel Boric, who's going to be taking office in March. And, of course, I mean, when I see that sort of thing, I just jump at it. I was in the middle of something, but those opportunities come rarely that somebody even wants to talk about that sort of thing. And I try to do what I can to actually to break this disconnect that exists between the left outside of Chile, and particularly in like English-speaking countries or non-Spanish-speaking countries, and Chile, because there's so much absolutely just piss-poor analysis that happens as a result of it. And there are important things going on in Chile. There are, like, things that we could be learning from, and things that really our solidarity is called for, because, I mean, the Chilean government is murdering political dissidents on a fairly regular basis, using weapons from here. Yeah, and from Israel as well. I mean, Israel's been a proud supplier of, the repressive apparatus in Chile since, like, the 1970s or so. So, I mean, I jump at that, and so I just, I replied to the thread on Twitter, and said, you know, I could definitely check with my contacts, and I'm sure there's somebody who would not, you know, would not hold back on the subject. Because the thing is that contrary to so much bullshit that you hear in the English language media, and unfortunately that includes the English language left media, who just believe what they read in the New York Times on this subject, and don't check it out, and apparently just don't have the connections to anyone to even ask. Because, I mean, I tell my friends in Chile, my comrades there, that Gabriel Boric is being described in the English language media as a leftist, or a radical leftist even, and it's a joke, because it's like when right-wingers try to claim that Biden is a communist. I mean, it's the same thing. Except that he's younger and not, you know, not a known white supremacist, and I mean, he isn't quite as revolting a person as Joe Biden. Gabriel Boric isn't, but, I mean, the only reason anyone on the left could be bothered lifting a finger to vote for him was the alternative was a literal fucking Nazi. Now, so, you know, I try to get that front and center whenever possible, try to find English language platforms for comrades in Chile so that this gap, this media bubble around Chile can be broken through a bit in a meaningful way. And yeah, so I said I got people I could contact, and I'm sure they wouldn't hold back on their opinions about the centrist government of Boric and, you know, the neoliberals around him. Sahala Order, Kiryat Shaul. God, JC Deco everywhere. Oh, God. Hakfar Hayarok. Maybe this is Tel Aviv? Fuck, I don't know. I don't know like, the only neighborhoods in this area I know are, like, Sheikh Jarrah, Silwan, and I'm not seeing any signs for those, but you wouldn't, necessarily. So, yeah. So then I get a thing saying, yeah, just sort of very dismissively saying, actually, the people we want to talk to are people who are connected to the incoming Boric government. You know, not people who are going to slag him off. You know, so not wanting to just talk to leftists, but leftists who are somehow connected to the government of a guy that is a very popular hate figure on the left. And yeah, so that it got totally dismissed. He's trying to act like, I mean, you have so many people who are just going on complete bullshit that is in the English language press, not bothering even when they can speak like halfway decent Spanish, like this guy had some Spanish. Not bothering to check to see if the Chilean press is saying similar things, which in this case they really are not. And the leftists, I mean, there was a palpable relief amongst leftists in Chile just because, okay, maybe Jerusalem? Kiryat Shaul? I don't know. We'll find out, though. Military cemetery. That sounds like either Jerusalem or Tel Aviv, though. Yeah, so, and then just not even checking it out. Because this isn't some factional thing where there's one where different left factions are divided and there's some sort of intramural sniping between leftist factions. Not liking Gabriel Boric is one of the things that people agree on. Like, I mean, Trotskyists, anarchists, Maoists, Allendistas, Miristas. You know, there's a lot that they disagree on. They sometimes don't even get on. But when it comes to not liking Gabriel Boric, everyone agrees that he's just a fucking bootlicker. American Colony? There's a place in Jerusalem called American Colony? You might as well call the whole thing American Colony. It is one. I mean, it started out as a British one, now it's an American one. Hell. Fuck. Okay, Tel Aviv. I got it narrowed down, though. Still, only 33 miles. 48.26 points. I did pretty well. Okay, so this looks like Germany to me. Yeah, this idea that Gabriel Boric is a leftist is literally just an exclusive of the the English language media. And it takes less than 5 minutes, if you know any Spanish at all, to debunk it. Caution, bumps ahead. Hello, Phoenix Rising. Okay, now I'm thinking Ireland, actually. Well, it's English, Connolly, Cupboard, Cameron. I mean, okay, we've changed time periods. I had an election placard to look at. Independent. Okay. How are you doing, Phoenix? And how's my audio? Can you hear me okay? Okay, this does look like Ireland. That look left thing, you see that more in Ireland. Yep, Ireland. That sign is in Irish and English. And Curbauer. Okay, it's a ring road. Okay. So, where? Barna Recycling. Now, we've been having a fair bit. Parakill for Fedmew. RFC Security. Okay, and now I've entered a quantum singularity and gotten out of it safely. That's nice to see. Okay, City Direct. Yeah, okay, that doesn't look like Dublin buses. Trasny. Welcome to West Side. Okay, could this be Drumcondra? Monday through Friday, bedrooms, ties, Epic Store. I mean, this feels like Dublin. Dual carriageways and lots of glass. It feels a little bit like when you're coming in from Dublin Airport, it looks a bit like this. Into town. Oh, a street name. Old Seamus Quirk Road. It's quite icy out here. Like, I went to get cigarettes earlier, and in areas that normally aren't slippery, even in winter, I almost fell on my ass a couple of times. Yo play, that helps me fuck all. But this feels a lot like the M25. Circle K Express. An Irish institution. Oh, come on, give me something here. Give me a sign. They're not so shy usually in Dublin event. Bus Éireann. Okay, that's just the national bus company. Useless for these purposes because there are Bus Éireann stops in all 26 counties. And probably in the others. Galway! Galway Road Improvement Scheme. Okay, Galway. Never been to Galway. But it's a big sort of IT hub, or at least was for a while. Okay. Greenfields, Newcastle. The Klondike House. Okay. Seamus Quirk Road. Bornatre. Sandy Road. I mean, this is a dual carriageway. Cooler roundabout. Come on, give me a street name, would ya? Curran South. Ah, sod it. Pick one of these big yellow streets and call it an evening. $1.2 miles. Not bad. $49.93. Rumia opec razem sypie. Okay, we are in Poland. Okay, that's a public works. Rajski zacisze. Gotowy do odbioru. Okay, okay, we've got a nice wee roundabout. Dąbrowskiego. Neshimoso. My YouTube recommendations over the past week tell me that Xander, Hole, and Foch have been just exploding over the past week over the whole bit where where Foch said some literal Nazi shit and then doubled down on it. They really have decided, as Agricola once said, that that crime, once exposed, has its only refuge in audacity. Ah, come on. Hier ist die Stimme. It's like somebody gave them a racism enema. Meanwhile, apparently right-wing pundits like to fuck junk food. Or at least Tucker Carlson does. But maybe he just had a bet with the quartering that he lost, and because he lost it, he had to do something that made the quartering seem like a normal person. But I prefer to think that right-wing pundits all like to fuck junk food, and that, you know, maybe Roger Ailes has a thing for Doritos. It would also explain why both Rush Limbaugh and Donald Trump did adverts for Pizza Hut a long time ago. So that's a thought. Okay. Health clinic. None of this helps me very much. Rondo Prezydenta Lecha Kaczynskiego. It's the Lech Kaczynski roundabout. Okay. Playground Focus SC Gdansk Distributor Eger. Yeah, 16 miles, not bad. Okay. This looks like the US. Okay. The I-49 going... Okay, it's the cross of the 59, the I-5, the I-49, and the 151 around Houston. Okay, this'll be easy. Love it when you get an intersection of interstates and state routes. That makes life so much easier. I-49. $45. Oh, they're keeping a spare Pasadena in Texas. There's 151 and 49. Cut and shoot Ewans? It's a great town name. Oh, fucking hell. 241 miles off. And we have round 5 of 5. This looks like Japan. Yeah, with those mirrors there on the corners, those are very handy. Yep, Japan. It says Tomari. Jutaku nai ni tsuki Chiyoko. Okay. We need a sign. Oh, hold on. Was that a sign? Is something... Come on, 何か見せろよ。いや、看板とか。Okay, this is more not as much as I would have thought. Come on, give me a main street here someplace. Ah, okay. 大東建託。お部屋探しはいい部屋ネット。Okay, ads for a flat search website. 安全第一大東建託. Okay, yeah, so it has the project details, and if it has the project details, it will say where this is. It'll give me an address. Ought to, anyway. Hell, I can't get it at a good angle, though. Oh, here we go. Toshi Keikaku Hall. Ah, we're in Chiba. Chiba-shi Chuoku Okay. Thank you, Public Works Disclosure Laws, for helping me win a game of GeoGuessr. Okay, Chibashi. Chuoku. Narashi no. Wakaba. Midori. Chuo. It means center. It ought to be in the center, but I'm not seeing. Wakaba. Narashi no. Funabashi. Chuoku. There we are. Okay, we're gonna get this relatively close, though. Japanese addresses are a real pain in the ass if you don't know your way around the place. .1 miles, not bad at all. Okay. What was my total anyway? 23,580. Not too bad. Okay, and now we're gonna switch gears and get back to watching Foch and Zanderhole.
I think she's a Vietnamese nationalist. Yes, stepchild of Vietnamese propagandizing education. Sure, yeah, it's fine. I don't even think that's particularly good for y'all. I'm pretty sure I said propaganda.
Hello, JH.
I think she's a Vietnamese nationalist. Yes, stepchild of Vietnamese propagandizing education. Sure, yeah, it's fine. I don't.
Yeah, this is talking about Luna. Oi. Oi. Welcome, JH, and where have you found me? And let me. Is the audio okay?
I'm pretty sure I said worse stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he said worse stuff. Yeah, that's not exactly a high. That's not setting the bar very high. Since Foch says all sorts of fucked up shit. Okay. Some might call that a blessing, but for our purposes, obviously, it is suboptimal.
That I've followed my whole life, and it's never steered me wrong.
How's that?
It has yet to steer me wrong. Crafter Lula, thank you for the tier 3 gifted sub to Josh Kiss. Thank you. This is a tip for being
Where
such a long time
Where are you joining us from, JH?
Wait, Crafter Lula, how much was that? That was a tier 3. Thank you so much. 20? Ah, thank you. Goal. Not 332 made today, but like combined yesterday and today.
She's really just an insult based on the fact that she's Vietnamese. That's the only tangible piece of evidence about her identity that you addressed, or even you didn't address her positions. You addressed like you didn't call her a nationalist. You called her a stepchild of Vietnam.
In a section where I was hold on, this would be a lot easier for you if you didn't form your opinions based exclusively off the Twitter clips.
I see. This is what he's been doing all through this. We've been skipping through this over the past couple of weeks. Okay. That is a surprise. Now I'm really not sure. Oh. Hello, Phoenix Rising's cat. See, what he's been doing this whole time has been to say, you know, that, oh, you can, every time somebody points out something fucked up that Foch has said, Foch says, oh, well, you can clip anything together out of different videos and stuff. You know, suggesting that maybe the idea is to imply that that's what happened there. Nice meeting you too. How are we related? Uh, and then he doesn't follow that up. He changes the subject, and here he is doing again. Oh, it's the Twitter clips. You shouldn't phone your opinion based on the Twitter clips. Actually, when you look at just the Twitter clips, it actually sounds not quite as bad as the long form where you see him double down on this stuff and even more fucked up things.
In the whole video, where you can find the section. No, I'm talking about the stepchild thing. I have an opinion on whether or not I'm a pedophile, and it's that the people who go out of their way to call me one because they can't.
It doesn't take going out of it doesn't require all that much effort. I have a cousin called... Okay, I'm wondering if... Are you sure? I don't believe I have a cousin called James, though. I mean, admittedly, there are a few, and I've lost track of a lot of the extended family, but I feel like I don't...
Can't address my real arguments are bottom-feeding scum.
Well, the thing is, the pedo thing was one of his real arguments. Oh, I love large, fluffy cats. I would stare at him, too. He made this at great length, and he said it repeatedly, and then each time he thinks the better of it, and he's like, oh, well, anyone can just cut things together, and it's like, that's not what happened.
And I really like the idea that you would complain. Wait.
What I love here, what I absolutely is just, I find absolutely perfect. Oh, that explains it. I didn't. Yes, okay. Yeah, with that, now what you're saying does ring a bell. What I love here is that he decided to use the nonce thing as a way to change the subject away from the being racist about Luna Ui thing.
Hold on. The idea that people would complain about vitriol. I mean, not even about, like, the arguments used, right? But, like, in terms of vitriol. And what? Because I made a joke about her being a nationalist? Like, is stepchild like a slur now?
Well, I mean, it's not very nice to actual stepchildren.
This concern totally me. I don't
Vietnam, you did mention her nationality, which is I don't know her ethnicity.
Yep, literally. It's if you mention nationality only matters if it's somebody who's from a country that has a majority non-white population, okay? It's like, in any other context, criticism of someone for simping for the government wouldn't be a problem, but it's because she's Vietnamese, and
because Foch said something racist, as he is wont to do.
It's the Vietnamese government. Now it's got to be a racial thing.
I think she's a Vietnamese nationalist. Yes, stepchild of Vietnamese propagandizing education. Sure, yeah. It's fine. I don't even think that's particularly vitriolic. I'm pretty sure I said worse stuff.
Yes, you have said worse stuff. I wouldn't brag about it.
All right, we're really just going around in circles now. So I don't know. I have nothing else to say about this. Do you have anything else to say?
No.
That's actually if you're going to make the huge misstep of actually having a debate with this dickhead, then actually shutting him down by saying, actually, I'm kind of done with this subject. If you got anything else to say, since he's been taking it in circles and then changing the subject every time it gets uncomfortable, which, since he says so many fucked up things, that happens a lot when people call him on it.
I suppose not.
Okay.
And the debate ended, and they lived happily ever after.
And now, according to Xanderhole, he has not seen this before he streamed this. So assuming that's true, and I think we can take his word on that much, that means he does not actually know that Foch is about to say some literal Nazi shit. I'm not sure exactly when in the stream it happens, and we've been going through the whole thing. But, yes. Well, nice meeting you, James. Yeah.
Do you want to talk about anything? I have a few other questions.
Yeah, well, there were 3 topics that you mentioned.
Oh, okay. Let's hear the next one. This will be good. Well, that's a last week opinion. This week, it turns out Fox News is there to watch about. Oh, well, that's nice to say, and actually very surprising to hear from somebody on my father's. Sorry, my father's side of the family, but yeah, okay. This is the most random thing to happen on my chat. This is cool. Yeah, Fox News Now is apparently dedicated to right-wingers talking about which junk food they want to fuck, remember. Tucker Carlson used to want to fuck M&Ms. Now he's feeling ambivalent about it. And I'm pretty sure, Roger Ailes probably wants to do something with salt and vinegar crisps, although, I mean, you'd get fucking cuts on those if they're the kettle chips. I would wish that on him, actually. Yes, I hope that his fetish is fucking kettle chips.
Well, you said the first one was on targeting marginalized
the good ending.
people. And the second one...
Yeah, and I would say X is really giving him credit, because every time he gets into subject matter like this, he starts sounding like Richard Spencer.
Was a perceived lack of understanding of Luna's video and of dialectical materialism. And then the third one was the dishonest rhetorical tricks I use in my discussions. And I'm happy to talk about either, or both.
This will be good.
If you'd like.
Okay. So, I think that in your video, so specifically just focusing on the stream you had about Luna, now, because you said that people that don't address your opinions, your actual positions. I feel like you spent 2 hours. You call people who don't address your actual positions bottom feeding scum. You spent
and call
2
me
hours.
pedophiles. That's the part that
I believe this.
Well, except that you call yourself that. Oh Jesus. Yeah. Yeah, apparently my dad actually did get vaccinated, and he still got it, though he seems to have come away fairly well. I mean, the fates are nice to dickheads occasionally. Yeah, I think, I would call him a purported ex-alt-righter.
Same thing of people who do that to me, yes. Bottom-feeding scum. Scum of the earth, yes.
Categorically, Luna did not call you a pedophile. She quoted something that you said.
Wasn't
and
Yeah, this is true. She did not say that. She just quoted a thing that he said.
I do happen to agree. I don't think there's any situation where an adult can have a child, a sexual relationship with a child.
Outside of this drama, do you consider you can't really blame people living under the CCP rule for simping for their government when their government can literally make them disappear?
You mean sort of like the U.S. government did with Jose Padilla?
Did you mean CCP? Because
it's CPC. The CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, that's a historical organization that actually, as it happens, was made up largely of Koreans. It was an organization that existed in the 1920s, 1930s under the Japanese occupation, and it was made up largely of Koreans in exile in Manchuria. And actually, one of the stranger episodes in the history of the CCP was when Stalin decided, for totally racist reasons, that he was going to order the execution of the entire Korean partisan resistance against the Japanese. Oh, fucking hell. Did he then? That doesn't actually surprise me. I, on the other hand, have basically put my life on hold for 2 years, just to avoid fucking getting it. So that, because everybody I know who's gotten it has ended up dealing with some seriously fucked up stuff afterwards. And, I just look at that and it's like, yeah, I don't want that. And I've got a job that allows me not to go out. So I don't. I'm fortunate on that. But, so the CCP was the largely Korean exile organization in Manchuria in the 20s and 30s, who had to intercede on behalf of Kim Il-sung because he was specifically named in Stalin's death warrant. They had to actually go and intercede with the Soviet government to get them to rescind the death warrant for Kim Il-sung, saying that actually, no, there's no way this guy's a Japanese spy. The Japanese hate him.
I don't think the CCP is that yeah, I think you might be misspeaking there.
Yeah, it's the CPC is the current Communist Party of China.
Am I wrong? I think they meant the Vietnamese. Yeah, I was about to say that's the CCP is not the Vietnamese government. I think
it's not the Chinese government either.
Sus.
And it has a positive outcome. So
if you had actually seen the full bit that was clipped from, then you would agree. You saw the full bit, not just
Vietnam.
the Twitter bit, but the full thing.
It
in
stands
which
for Chinese Communist
Party. Was that there can be some situations where an adult and a child can have positive outcomes. You didn't say. Anyway, it's totally immaterial.
Yeah, and what Non-Compete said there is totally right. He did say that shit.
No, it's important.
Well, Vosh and Zan simp for the U.S. government. Does that make them nationalists?
Haha, yeah, gotcha. That's true. That is a fair call out. We have a voice in this chat.
I don't simp. Nobody on what?
Vosh certainly simps for the U.S. government. He actually did a video on how it's apparently bad that the CIA is having trouble holding on to their fucking informants. He simps for this regime.
Simp for the U.S. government? Oh, wait. You've got to be a troll, right? Did you just make an account? I bet that account is like an hour old. Hold on. How much do you want to bet this?
Oh, see, that's... Yeah, when you all else fails, go for the age of the account.
That account is an hour old. Hold up. Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. Yep. Made on January 11th, 2022. Made today. Go ahead and drop that ban hammer. Go ahead and...
Oh, so that's the... Holy shit, okay. I am totally surprised to hear... Okay. I am absolutely surprised to hear that there is somebody on my dad's side of the family who is also a fan of Thought Slime. That is the most random thing ever. Real surprise. Oh, wow. I get some link spam from an account that doesn't have a Russian name for once. Okay, Brittany Cachero. Ya la cachaste. Te vai. Okay, but, yeah, that sounds about right.
Drop that ban hammer right there.
Hey, I love, he's very into the honest, open debate there, Xander Hole is.
Hell yeah.
Oh, wow, he feels like a man when he bans somebody who makes an entirely fair point that he has no good response to because he's too busy fucking simping for Fosh.
Go as the logs. Well, logs are right there in the little link there.
Important. So, in a consequentialist sense, you can easily construct a situation where essentially anything is fine. Here, I'll ask you. Just follow through with me 30 seconds.
No, I'm not an idealist. I'm not going to talk about hypotheticals that don't have any bearing on material reality.
That is... Wait, hold on.
225 viewers, right? By the way, and it's been steadily just kind of hovering between 225 and 250.
Okay, now, I've seen what comes next. I've seen this in clips. Because what Fosh is going to do is he's going to misrepresent what EJ just said. EJ just said he doesn't deal in hypotheticals that have nothing to do... Well, hello, Abby. How good to see you, too. Wow, it's pleasant surprises all around in chat today. So, Fosh is going to take what EJ just said about not dealing in hypotheticals that have nothing to do with material reality, which is, of course, Fosh's stock in trade, and change that and claim that EJ is saying that dealing in hypotheticals automatically makes it idealism, which of course is not what he's saying. He's saying that hypotheticals that are just fucking random variables that Fosh has put together specifically in order to make his position the only one that you can possibly support that's unmaterialist, and it is unmaterialist. It's just bullshit. I mean, I wouldn't even just say I wouldn't go so far as to say that it's idealism. I'd just say that it's dishonest.
For a while, pretty fucking based for one streaming at the same time as both, I believe, both Demon Mama and Vosh, and it just being a debate review. You know, which isn't, like, necessarily the biggest, like, content that's going to bring in clicks. The channel's been doing, like, a lot better lately. Like, especially since New Year's. DM isn't live? Oh, okay, well, still. Especially since New Year's.
Oh, hang on, I'll be back in literally just a second. I forgot my water bottle. Forgot my nicotine lozenges and my water bottle, and I was starting to feel the absence of both. So let's get back.
Years.
Yeah, I mean, see, I didn't follow Vosh long enough to know whether if there was a moment where I would have said that he went downhill. I've just come in the past couple of years, and he's just horrible. It's like this. It's like all the worst. Just manipulative debating tactics that asshole guys at university pubs do around the world. The talking, the being artificially calm. I am going to say utterly maddening things to you right now, and I'm going to say it with complete equanimity, like I am fucking Mr. Spock. And that is going to make it seem as if I am authoritative, even though anyone who has done 5 minutes of research knows that what I just said is complete nonsense. You know, that whole thing that he does, the whole shtick, is just such hot bullshit.
January is a bad month for everyone, but this month has been uncharacteristically good when compared to other months, so I'm really excited to see what happens when January, which is just the worst month for YouTubers, is over. And
is that true? I haven't been a YouTuber for long enough to actually know. And why would January be... Yeah, I like Mr. Spy. I mean, and Leonard Nimoy was a Yiddishist, which I think is kind of cool.
We get a little further in the
Native
year,
because
viewership's been going up, watch time's been going up, sub growth has been going up as well. I still stand by that I believe BreadTube is dying. Or I should argue that BreadTube is going into hibernation.
I'd love to hear him divine. We've had some wild fucking definitions of what BreadTube is. I mean, there's Caleb Muppet's definition, which is just where it's just a tossed salad of people he doesn't like, no matter what their political views actually are. But it would be fascinating to know what Xanderhole thinks BreadTube is
a better way to put it. In the same way the skeptic community kind of went into hibernation, less so than died.
They didn't go into hibernation. They just folded over full on into fucking into the far right. Like the skeptic community in Britain is one of the sort of intersections between fascists and TERFs in Britain.
I think that COVID spikes plus Jan 6th. Nah, I haven't done anything involving Jan 6th. I guess maybe the fact that it's been 1 year since Jan 6th might have gotten some people to be like, I should watch some of those political YouTubers I used to watch back when the election was going on. But I don't think that's what it is. Honestly, I'm only here today because non-compete was so fucking dumb. I'm fascinated. Well,
disagree with me on what? Well, I mean, skeptics with a capital S. People who are, brag about their supposed skepticism, which happens to be... Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. The bit of the skeptic community that it was irritating enough that I took notice of it is what I'm talking about. That's basically, Yeah, Xander promote leftism. That'll be a new one.
Well, Noah Horny, you should stick around for more of my streams. I'm a funny guy, and I've been doing a lot of really interesting content lately. I'll take a...
No, not true, Noah Horny. Run. Get the fuck out of there. Run while the getting's good, or you will find yourself in an endless loop of trying to mentally refute the hot mess of bullshit that comes out of this guy's mouth.
Break right now, just for about 30 seconds, to go ahead and give you guys a rundown of things I plan to do this year. For the year of for the year of 2022, I want to focus really hard on trying to innovate on whole new subgenres of content.
What the fuck is that?
Obviously, I've kind of invented the leftist debating Nazis on Omegle.
Yeah, okay, I got sort of the sense of the one side being misogynist and the other not, because I remember reading a lot of articles from women who went to skeptics conventions like 5 or 6 years ago, complaining about misogynist shit that Richard Dawkins said to them in the lift or whatever, and how they then just got shat all over by a significant part of the community then.
Genre. Schwanhead says she might be streaming some of doing that, and that she'll give me credit for the idea. Vosh's editors are trying to get him to start doing it as well.
Shoe on Head. Oh, that's yeah. As some of you who are on Twitter probably noticed, that Shoe on Head just the other day was decided that while she could defend Kyle Rittenhouse for the whole murder thing, the fact that he's getting into NFTs crosses the fucking line.
Because they think it'll be good content. I think Demon Mama might even do the same. So I think I might have been a trendsetter there. It looks like a lot of people are going to be following my lead there with the Omegle stuff. So already, just 11 days into the year, and we're already a trendsetter. So that's pretty fucking dope. But we're not stopping at the Omegle shit. I'm going to be trying to do...
I don't give a shit. Let's move on. I don't want to hear about this.
Her.
I want to hear about the whack shit that... want to hear what he says about Xander, about Fosh saying...
Mama taught me a word called smuckle. All right? S-M-U-C-K-L. It's a mix of smug and chuckle. It's when you smugly chuckle dishonestly. It's a DM meme. She invented it. Yeah.
Smugly chuckling dishonestly. That sounds like a Fosh move.
More to the right because a left-leaning candidate is in power right now. Actually going to drift on. Biden is in office, so those that want to be counterculture are naturally going to drift more to the right because
on what fucking planet?
A left-leaning candidate is in power right now.
What left-leaning candidate? The left is having absolutely no trouble hating Joe Biden. It's not like when back in like 2008, 2009, where there was that honeymoon period where nobody wanted to hear that Obama was not on their side and just had a remarkable ability to just not even listen when he openly said, yeah, I'm a right-winger, I don't give a fuck about you, we're going to privatize the shit out of everything, give a bunch of money to Wall Street, and it'll be cool. Yeah, there hasn't been that with Joe Biden. Like, there hasn't been any need. Nobody's interested in giving this fool the benefit of the doubt, and it's entirely appropriate because he does not deserve it. He's had a half-a-century track record, and it has all been awful. I mean, he's not a left-leaning candidate. Leaning left of what? He isn't even leaning left of Trump at this point.
Now, I genuinely do think the dominoes are set up for...
Oh, Rebecca Watson! Okay. Yeah, I get her videos, like, as a recommendation in my YouTube. Yeah, I mean, he's a shitball. I've not detected any difficulty on the part of leftist content creators on hating Joe Biden, except Fosh. Fosh simped the fuck out of him. Oh, yes, I remember that open letter from Dawkins. Jesus, that was... I mean, he's just such a smug fuck.
Yes, potentially a culmination of a more radicalized leftist group. However, I think we're going to see a lot more.
The culmination of a more radicalized leftist group? No, it was a huge fuck you to the most important fucking, like, the biggest, just a historical national uprising against racist state terror that of the likes of which we have not seen in generations. And the Democrats couldn't think of anything better to do to respond to that than get the guy who says he wants to put anarchists like me in prison. I mean, it's like, I mean, what the fuck? This is the wonderful anti-Nazi de-radicalizing effect of Vosh, apparently. A dickhead who thinks that Joe Biden is a left-leaning candidate. Maybe left of you, Xanderhole. Jesus Christ.
More people being radicalized to the right over the next couple of years. However, I will say I'm super excited about this. I'm really excited.
Of course he's excited about people being radicalized to the right. Yeah. Yeah, I think that actually is Vosh. Although Vosh does try to occasionally sound like he's a leftist. Like, when he talks about China, he will make a point of saying, yeah, I mean, obviously there's no workers' control there, which is true. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, harm reduction was just, they just turned that into a synonym for the lesser evil without even bothering to consider that it's a different context.
Want it to be a cycle. I hope concept. It's literally a 4-year cycle on the internet that we go from like the anti-SJWs being on top, then BreadTube being on top. I just hope it's a 4-year cycle.
Well, on top of what exactly, though? I mean, if we're talking about on top of the algorithm, it's been the far right on top of the algorithm the whole fucking time. I was being served Nazi content despite never having watched it, even before I had this stream and started hate watching it on stream. I was being served that stuff. Like leftist content creators, and especially queer content creators, are constantly getting shut down and demonetized for absolutely no reason. I mean, so they are always on the top. Yeah, well, he is Vosh's prepubescent Nazi sidekick. I mean, that's what he gets to do. He's the Robin to Vosh's
single
flashback.
4 years. I really hope it just does that constantly, and it's like there's an off season and an on season.
He hopes that it does this constantly. He thinks that there's a cycle where the fascists are on top. Whenever there isn't somebody openly standing them in the White House. And he thinks that's a good thing. He thinks that having an endless cycle of the fascists occasionally being on top, whatever that even means to him, and then not being, and then being again, is a good thing that he hopes stays. See, I thought that the whole idea of being a leftist, which he occasionally pretends to be, was that we want to end that fucking cycle and actually fucking win, end this ridiculous system that is literally driving us to early extinction.
That would be fucking dope.
Oh, don't recommend channel goes away in a couple of months? Yeah, I didn't know that, but I'm not surprised. And the fact that I'm doing this stream is getting me served all this crap. It's like all the people that I absolutely hate to watch, unless I'm on here hate watching them. Just keeping an eye on the time. My cough filter on the mic blocks the clock. And now I get this stuff served in there, so I really wish you could have a separate set of recommendations that are just hate-watching recommendations, and you don't have to look at them all the time, so that I could only have my wonderful recommendations where it's Chilean and Peruvian cooking channels, and Thought Slime, and The Surfs, and, you know, neat chess content, and interesting North Korean defectors, and whatever else, and, you know, that stuff that I actually want to watch. Not Pakyeonmi, to be clear. Not the North Korean defector content that you get for English language audiences, which is sensationalistic as fuck. I'm talking about the stuff for Korean speaking audiences. That stuff's interesting.
Dope, dude. I like, because I want to be, I'm so sad I didn't get to be a lefty debate streamer back.
Well, you'd have to be a lefty first.
During like Gamergate and that era.
Oh, somebody in the chat wants him to defend why we should have Medicare for all. That is one of many more worthwhile things that Xander Hole could be doing with his fucking stream. Okay, this isn't what I wanted. This is I don't give a shit about Xander Hole's reflections about his oeuvre. I really don't care. I wanted to see how he reacts when Foch defends some literal Nazi shit. So we're going to move on a little bit.
Code or whatever he's arguing in favor of. I don't even know what to call it because that's how unhinged he's coming off as here.
Plus, a lot of this sort of professional atheists, they have a general Christian worldview about them, and it shows. And in fact, when they talk about religion as a whole, it is virtually always directly bearing on concepts that are unique to Christianity.
Not in his behavior, but in his beliefs. Like, his beliefs are unhinged. I don't even know what to describe it as, but that seems to be his way, why he believes what he believes. Hypotheticals. Like, that is the most basic hypothetical, by the way. Basic of hypotheticals. Like, that is the most basic hypothetical, by the way. Like, okay, consequentialism. Somebody has a gun to another person. Someone will blow up the planet and everyone will die if you don't kill an innocent person. What action is less morally bad? And EJ's response is, that's idealism.
And yeah, it is. Deal with some actual material. It's completely irrelevant to the discussion as well. It is completely irrelevant to the discussion they're having. Yeah, you can make up hypotheticals for anything. That does not actually mean that they're addressing the issue in any meaningful way.
Having a moral system that would help you out of that situation is...
that would have a moral system that would help you out of a situation that we can guarantee is not going to happen. When is this? What's the practical utility in the lives of people who exist of a moral system specifically calibrated to help you address the situation where, for some reason, you have to shoot a person who is known a priori to be innocent, whatever that means in this context, in order to save all of humanity? Like, outside of the South Korean drama Sisyphus that I just got done watching, where they repeatedly have this exact argument, except it isn't an innocent person, it's actually a guy who's an asshole. This is a completely useless moral preparation to have.
Idealistic. No, obviously you choose to kill the one innocent person to save the planet. Like, it's not that idealistic. It's a pretty basic moral.
He doesn't know what idealism means. That's not what EJ is talking about when he says idealism. When you talk about idealism in this context, it is the opposite of materialism. Idealism is the idea that the world changes as a result of ideas. That is ideas that cause all these shifts. Whereas materialism says, no, it has to do with actual material things, like the way in which humans acquire the things that we need in order to survive, and stuff like that. Actual physical stuff that has an actual direct bearing on our survival as individuals and as a collectivity. And Xander Hole doesn't even know what that means. I think even Foch could probably come up with a definition like that if you put a gun to an a priori innocent person's head and nobody makes it a posteriori still innocent. That's good, Abby. I like that. that he could probably come up with a halfway tolerable definition of what idealism is, and I honestly think it doesn't entirely fit into this discussion. It isn't, because the issue isn't an idealism versus materialism issue that is really coming up here, because his hypotheticals, Foch's hypotheticals, and Sanderhold does the same thing. The issue is that they're just manipulative bullshit.
System, where you try to maximize good outcomes and minimize bad outcomes, pro-good.
That's not idealism, that's utilitarianism, you dickhead.
Things, anti-bad things, pretty basic.
What idealism means. It's not. You don't know what that term means.
Well, what do you think idealism means?
So do you mean idealism like in relationship to materialism in the dialectical sense? Like dialectical idealism versus dialectical materialism?
See, even Foch understands that much.
Because the Hegelian concept has nothing to do with the construction of hypotheticals.
He's not talking about just the construction of hypotheticals. It's the construction of It's making the entire debate that is supposed to be about actual material reality revolve around hypotheticals that are nothing to do with anything except setting the parameters in a way that is favorable to Foch. Now, I don't think that is really idealism either in that sense. But I do think that you have, but I do think that at the very least, this is not, sorry, I've just totally lost the thread there.
No, it doesn't, but it does, but no, it does. So yes, it does, because idealism is the position that the basis for
I'm not going to pretend
truth,
like
and
I've read
this actually
Hegel.
does move towards what I wanted to talk to you about, so I'm fine with talking about this now.
It's the trolley problem.
No, it is not the trolley problem, you dick. Listen to, I can't believe I'm saying this, but listen to your man there. Listen to Foch for a second. He at least has some idea what concepts EJ is talking about here. He's completely full of shit in the way he applies them, because that's just kind of how he is. He's just full of shit. But at the very least, he's actually heard of this stuff. Zanderhol clearly has not. I mean, just pick up a fucking book. You don't even. I'm not asking him to read Capital. Especially, I haven't actually read all of Capital either. But read something, for fuck's sake.
I think EJ would actually piss himself if you presented him with the trolley problem. It's just the idea, the concept of. I'm ranting too.
Yeah, because he doesn't know what the fuck he was just saying, because this has nothing to do with anything, except that the trolley problem is another example of a moral hypothetical that has, like... It's on my list of books to read. It's just that I've got so many of them, and I always end up... Others are closer to hand. But the trolley problem is another example of a moral hypothetical that, teases out moral solutions to situations that are next to that you can more or less guarantee you're never actually going to face.
Too much. Let's continue. We've been doing this for 2 hours, and we are 33 minutes into this 2-hour debate. So we need to stop pause-andying as much.
I do think you misunderstand the difference between materialism and idealism, and I think you don't understand the relationship between Hegel and Marx and Engels, and I don't think that you understand the difference between historical materialism and dialectical materialism. So these are all things I did want to ask you about. So, Hegel's whole dialectic, and the problem that Marx and Engels had with Hegel, was that he sought truth on the basis of the ideal and consciousness. Okay?
Oh, the debate
Marx
ends
and
halfway
Engels
into the video?
And nonsensical situations would have their... It was nice meeting you too, James. I'll be here tomorrow night as well. You're welcome to join us again. I mean, nonsensical situations are something that actually they do potentially bear on reality. We're living in a fucking nonsensical situation. I mean, there's very little about the way things are at the moment that you could seriously call sensical. But the trolley problem isn't it. I mean, there are hypotheticals you could come up with that have a lot more bearing on the sort of nonsensical situation we deal with.
And they thought that the material world in objective sense data, empirical sense data, is the primary basis for truth. But they were not empiricists. They were not positivists, meaning they didn't think you could only find truth in sense data, in empirical data. Okay?
Oh,
do you agree with all of those things I just said, or do you know those things?
No, I don't think that's correct. I think that's simplified in some respects and incorrect in others.
Okay, this will be interesting. Note that Xanderhole has suddenly shut the fuck up, which is a wonderful thing. Yeah, I mean, it makes a certain sense in the sense that, I mean, I understand why it suits certain people who happen to have an inordinate, ridiculous amount of power over us for it to be like this. In that sense, it makes sense, but it is still just complete bullshit. I mean, you have these two serious existential problems, and they're not even really on the agenda.
All right. Well, just tell me what you think idealism is, Vosh.
The dialectical disagreement. So first of all, idealism is a philosophical tradition dating back millennia. What you refer to as ideal, like, I don't know, there are like 20 different kinds of idealism depending on where you're pulling from. The juxtaposition usually posed against what Marx wrote was Hegelian dialectical idealism, which was the idea that social advancements,
yeah, that is what he was fucking talking about.
Is that human civilization was moved forward as a product of the antagonisms which arise in people's thoughts as they have competing values and virtues which fight against each other.
That's actually valid. I mean, and that he's got that more or less right.
So much harder on EJ for his little his little smuckle at the like hypothetical. That would have been the point where I'm like, okay, fuck this guy. I'm going hard now. I'm going.
Yeah. I'm sure you're going hard. I would love to see what would happen. I mean, considering that Xanderhole didn't even understand what idealism meant and brought out some shit which is basically utilitarianism. Well, I mean, do I reckon we're all going... I mean, yes, that's more or less guaranteed. When is another question. And, of course, I mean... When we talk about this 10-year deadline the IPCC was talking about in terms of climate change, which is now like 8.5 years, I think now. It's frightening. It's something frighteningly short. Of course, they weren't saying that it was immediately going to completely go to shit right after that. Just that was our last clear chance to sort this thing out so that it doesn't completely go to shit in like the medium term. So... the next couple of centuries might be halfway okay. I mean, yeah, Colorado and fucking BC will probably be on fire for a lot of it. There'll be lots of fucked up weather, but it's not going to get, human survival in question level dire that soon. We won't see it. Our kid, the next generation won't see it. They will get a very clear inkling of what's to come, I think, but, it's going to be the generation after that, and especially generation after that, unless we can turn this around. And I'm just hoping that we can figure out the way to do that and realize that what a fight that's going to be to have that happen. And maybe the fight that's going to take to get, say, the U.S. government and the British government to take COVID seriously for a change will maybe get people into the right frame of mind to do that. But, yeah, I mean... we still got chances to do something about it. It's just a matter of us actually fucking taking them.
That would have been where I would have... I'm surprised he kept his patience after that.
Okay, yes.
And Marx
Can I stop you for one moment?
Sure.
Can I stop you for one moment? Okay. So, an example of that, I think... and one of the big problems we have on the left today,
his hands. Did you catch that?
And the problem that I've seen you have in your discussions,
I did not, but
is that we have these hypothetical discussions about what we should do or shouldn't do, or after the revolution, will this happen or will this exist, and blah blah blah. And we construct hypothetical scenarios.
Imagine being a communist and not being able to engage with hypotheticals.
He's not talking about engaging with hypotheticals. He's talking about creating hypotheticals that have nothing to do with anything. And Xanderhole has to imagine being a communist because he certainly isn't one.
I genuinely don't know. Wait. Literally, the videos that blew up EJ's channel, the puppet videos or whatever, were literally videos that were meant to explain to viewers how a hypothetical anarchist society would function.
Well, first of all, not exactly. Some of them were. But you notice he stopped him too, because, again, maybe Xanderhole is about to have the realization that EJ is not condemning hypotheticals altogether as idealism. I don't hold out a huge amount of hope for that. I hold out more hope of Joe Biden canceling student debt than I do of Xanderhole acknowledging that actually EJ's objection is to a specific kind of hypothetical. But let's see.
Because back then, at least, EJ was definitely an anarchist. At least he came off that way. I don't...
What the heck? You don't get to judge who's an anarchist, motherfucker. You have already said that you can't judge, but he did a whole video about how it's wrong to have any kind of objective standard by which to determine whether someone who claims that they're no longer a Nazi actually isn't. And now he's going to apply some unstated standard to say he doesn't really think that EJ was actually an anarchist?
Don't, like, maybe he's an anarchist and Luna's just a tanky and he's just, like, defending his wife, which is understandable. I won't blame anybody for defending their partner, even if their partner's wrong, because it's, like, kind of have to do that. Yeah, I don't know. Don't forget his hypothetical anarchist society and anarchist gulags. Yeah.
That, I'm not sure what the hell that's referring to. And a lot of those puppet videos really weren't hypotheticals. I mean, he took pop culture references and read them as metaphors for issues facing us. Like, he did a brilliant thing. My absolute favorite of his puppet things was, the Dark Crystal and the liberal fascist bargain. That is the whole reason I watched the fucking Dark Crystal. Yeah, just on the strength of that. And that was really good. And it wasn't about a hypothetical. It was engaging with pop culture and pointing out ways that you could sort of take a radical reading to pop cultural artifacts. And I think that's actually, that's a totally valid thing to be doing. I think if you could find things in the culture that's around us that you can actually use to bring revolutionary concepts closer to people, I think that's actually an excellent idea. I think it's worth doing, and I think he did it really well.
Yeah. The anarchist gulags are not a good place. That I don't want that one to exist. That's not good.
About the future, and then we think that that's what we should base all of our praxis and activism on. So in other words, we come up with the ideas first, which Engels described as utopianism, Marx and Engels described as utopianism, and then we think like, okay, we've got this perfect vision for where we want to be. Now we have to get from here to there, and we have to dogmatically stay.
Oh, guys, you guys want to see the perfect?
Yeah, see, what he's saying is anarchist gulags, that's just some bullshit. I feel like if that were real, I would have heard about it before now from somebody who isn't as full of shit as this dickhead. I mean, and what he said is really key, because if you're going to talk, because the issue isn't hypotheticals. The issue is divorcing your entire thinking about strategy, about principle, from the realities that you're dealing with right now, and realities that are, like, foreseeable, and instead starting from an idealized objective that may or may not actually be possible, and that we might actually end up over the process of getting rid of the absolute unholy shit system we've got right now. We might come up with better ideas in the practice that we develop. And so what he's saying is, obviously, if you're married to these hypotheticals, you're going to miss out on that, and you're going to end up not necessarily really dealing with what's around you. And that's valid, and it is way over Xanderhole's head.
A bit of evidence. You guys want to see the perfect bit of evidence as to why I'm right about the cycle?
I don't really give a shit that, first of all, evidence that he's right. That's actually kind of neat that he's decided that maybe he should provide evidence of things. But I don't, okay, fuck this. I don't give a shit about the cycle. I want to hear
nearly 660,000 views. It's happened. Bruno from Encanto. Because I keep on correcting like rushed like photo scene was so odd to me. Like the movie was great. It's just that one end. I feel like that the ending would have stuck a better landing if it had literally just been, yeah, they lost their powers, but at least now they've learned to be, to love each other. And
I don't give a shit about what this fool's talking about in
behavior, a society, a mode of
frame utopian
concept. I think you could frame that belief system through dialectical materialism just fine.
Stop spoiling
you
shit.
Frame that system through dialectical materialism. Frame a utopian system, or what do you mean? I don't understand what you mean.
Dialectical materialism is only a mode of analysis. It's a theory to explain the movement, the evolution of human behavior, society, social developments. You could apply it to anything. You can analyze any system, any society through the lens of dialectical materialism. It doesn't have
Okay, and he's not wrong here.
To be.
And the fact that he's saying things that are valid is a harbinger of the fucked up shit that is to come. And we're running out of time, so I don't know if we're going to get to it tonight, but we probably will be getting there by tomorrow.
There isn't a dialectically materialist way of doing a thing, outside the process of.
There are YouTube videos speculating that Mirabelle did have a gift, and it makes me see the movie. It seemed like her destiny was, well, her possible destiny, I guess, was the possible purpose. I'm spoiling the movie, by the way. So her would be, but to reach the house, it lights up when they touch. I got, was like,
yeah, I'm trying to skip over this because I don't really give a shit what he has to say about Encanto.
No, she went by another name. They had to describe the person. But yeah, I forget what it was. Matriarch, yes.
We'll do it dialectically, materially.
The point is that you're putting the cart before the horse if you say this would be a perfect society, and a priori you will find out through praxis what works and what doesn't. That was a big important thing that Marx and Engels pointed out, was that you can only find truth through practice and praxis.
I'm not a utopian. I agree that it is dumb to conceptualize an ideal society and then
so when you
yeah, and the thing is, this has nothing to do with hypotheticals as Foch and Vanderhol deploy them. Neither of them are using them to tease out the nature of an ideal society. They're using it to prove that they're right by coming up with manipulative ways to talk about things. Like, for example, an example of what we're talking about here is when, instead of dealing with decolonization as it's actually happened, say, in Algeria with the Pieds Noirs, in South Africa and Namibia and, Zimbabwe and Botswana, and all sorts of other places around the world. Instead of doing that, Foch decides to engage with a hypothetical of white genocide, which is some white nationalist bullshit and nothing to do with decolonization as anyone's proposing it, or as anyone has done it. That's nothing to do with idealism. That's just being a dishonest prick.
Conceptualize things with aliens and things that don't happen on planet Earth. That's a useless rhetorical strategy.
Oh my god, this is what you were running back to? No, okay.
Yes.
So, no. Let me explain. Please listen, this can be instructive, okay? There is a massive...
Well, I'm sure this is going to be instructive, but not necessarily the way he means it.
Difference between framing your pragmatic advocacy for a political system based on a utopian vision of a future that you don't have material conditions to account for, and the construction of a hypothetical to illustrate the dynamics of a moral system. If you read Capital, I promise you will find hypotheticals that are very outlandish.
Yeah, see, and here he's, again, dealing with just a pure straw man, because EJ is not talking about using hypotheticals to elucidate an issue. He's talking about using hypotheticals in a way that's totally divorced as a substitute for material reality, when they have nothing to do with, hypotheticals that have nothing to do with material reality. So what he's doing here is just moving the goalposts.
Hold on. your whole thing, you believe that you can construct a moral system where you can, before
I didn't construct it. It's just rule utilitarianism.
You can't. The material conditions determine what is morally acceptable and what's not. When the French resistance were blowing up Nazis, that was okay because of the material conditions they were in. Right? Do you agree with that? But it's not always okay to just go blow people up.
No,
like there
those
are certain
are
material conditions where it's acceptable and somewhere it's not.
Those have nothing to do with each other. No, I'm not a moral relativist. Wait, do you think slavery was moral?
Wait. So, wait, he's not a moral relativist, so he thinks it was... He's saying that it is absolutely okay to either... Is he saying it is never okay to blow Nazis up? Or it's always okay to blow Nazis up? What the fuck is he talking about?
Because back then people thought it was moral?
That's exactly the opposite of what I'm saying.
The material conditions of 16th century agriculture demanded the existence of slavery. Do you think that's moral?
Well, that depends on... And see, this is not actually surprising that he's gone off on a racism as we come to a close for the night. But who is people? Who are these people who thought that slavery was necessary for what economic system? And could there have been people at the time who might have had a different opinion on the subject? These are questions that we'll come back to tomorrow night at 11:30 Eastern Time for the Saturday night stream. Thank you, everyone who's come. Nice to see you as always, Abby. I really need to get back to BC sometime when maybe there's no fucking plague on. And thank you for coming, Phoenix Rising. And a random relative showed up and turned out, and that was cool too. It's been an interesting stream. Maybe it'll be equally interesting tomorrow. We will have to wait and find out from the material realities that present themselves at that time. Have a good night, and see you soon. And hopefully I managed to avoid any of the real spoiling, because I did not think that he was going to start spoiling fucking Encanto. I didn't think that, that was not something I had on my bingo card for this.